Good practice today. No hitting this afternoon. We're getting ready to scrimmage tomorrow night, but it gave us an opportunity really to get in the last of the situations that we needed to. And now the offense, the defense, the special teams, and all the specialty situations that can come up in a game, that we'll practice during the year. We've gotten them all in, and now we can just rep them, and some of them we'll do tomorrow night at a little bit of a higher tempo. Questions?
Could you just reiterate what you're looking for in the scrimmage, and if it'll be any different from the first? Or?
It'll be a little bit different from the first because now we have more situations in, so we'll do things like coming out, we'll be in the red zone, we'll do some end of the game situations to make sure everybody understands exactly what the clock rules are, and we'll get a couple 2-minute drills in, a little bit of red zone, high and low, and some first and 10s. So we're going to move the ball. We're trying to play it as much like a game as we can. Other differences, we'll have coaches in the box, we'll have coaches on the field, we'll take some breaks, we'll go to the bench so everybody understands exactly how that's organized during the games, and there's no hiccups when we start to play for real.
Kyle, do you pretty much know what you're looking at, two deep wise or even starter wise, and just looking at a few things in the scrimmage, or what are you looking for from the personnel?
I think there are probably some battles that are more obvious than others. The secondary depth chart, although a lot of those guys are going to play, there's still some work to be done there. The right guard position, there's still some work to be done there. The backup tight end spot. Tyler, we expect him to be back, but he's not back. So we need to know exactly how that's going to work for us, and setting the depth behind Gary is going to be critical. But I never assume that any of them are set in stone, because sometimes players surprise you. And we have one running back in our program who has carried the ball in games significantly, which is Savon. So there's a lot of things to be settled at that position as well. And I'm open to anything, and I think that's the importance of going down in the stadium. It's always a little bit different. The young players, I don't know if they believe me when I said it last week, but they certainly believe me when they got down there. You realize right away it's just a little bit different when you're down in that stadium, and tomorrow night under the lights for the first time for some of those guys, it'll be different again.
Kyle, the significance to having it at 7:30, are you going to use the whole day to get acclimated to 7:30 since that's the time you'll be playing out on the West Coast?
We did the same thing last year. We had a 12 noon scrimmage, and we try to replicate exactly the 12 noon schedule that we'll use during the season, and this will be the same thing. The night scrimmage, we will try to keep just about the same exact schedule that we will keep when we're out in Fresno. There'll be a couple little differences, but for the most part, we'll be on the same schedule.
Is Des Peoples healthy, and do you anticipate him getting a little more reps tomorrow night?
He is healthy. He's ready to go. In terms of a little more, I don't know. That'll depend a little bit on how many plays we're able to play tomorrow and how the drives go. And sometimes I may have one situation scripted one time, but if the drive goes 3 and out, it's only 3 plays. If they drive at 10, you get 10 plays in a drive, it's 10 plays. I'm really more interested in seeing the situations than I am than accumulating plays.
Okay. Has Justin Goodwin kind of passed him since he's been out?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that the depth behind Savon is still very much up in the air. For PJ, for Justin, and for Desmond, they're all going to have a great opportunity tomorrow night, and maybe even as we continue here for the next couple days.
Have you made a change at right guard?
You know what? Andre was working in there at right guard. I'm not ready to say that Andre's the starter, but he'll go out there first tomorrow, and he'll get that opportunity. And Chris will play with the ones as well. And Antoine is just about back 100%. He's going to get opportunities to play there as well. Maybe at left side, maybe at right side. But I'm not ready to announce a starter at that position yet. I think the other 4 spots I feel pretty good about now. Like I said before, if somebody else comes along, we're never going to be so rigid that we won't play someone if they're performing better than the people that are out there on the field.
Kyle, where's the punt return situation stand with guys?
If we were playing today, Karan Pratt would be our first punt returner. But Miles Shuller's done a good job. I think Shanarian Grant's done a good job, and that's one we probably won't finalize until we start game week, which will be next Wednesday.
What will you do at outside linebacker and at defensive end with the Morels off enjoying their weekend?
Dewani will get a little more playing time. David Maluski will get a little bit more playing time. A guy like Quentin Gauze is going to get a little more playing time. TJ Taylor will get a little more playing time. It's really a great opportunity. It's almost similar to the days when I kept Gary in. Those other guys behind, all of a sudden now they're getting a tremendous opportunity to play with the ones and really prove that they deserve more playing time.
What do you like about TJ as a linebacker as opposed to a safety?
The safeties that move down and play linebacker, like Kasim, like TJ, like Davon Jacobs, those guys are explosive athletes, and they're big hitters. And as long as they're physical enough players, which obviously Kasim was, and I think these 2 young guys are, but what they give you is a faster, more explosive athlete now playing on the second level, and sometimes that speed can erase some plays.
Got time for two more?
Kyle, is there a bit of a spotlight on the secondary for this scrimmage? I know you said when I asked you that on Saturday that you thought Gary could hit a lot of tight balls, and I know you want to see the quarterbacks have good numbers again Saturday, but at the same time, for the secondary, big spotlight to kind of give up less yards, less completions.
I don't know if I look at it like that. We've had a lot of practices, I think, since last Saturday, and just like during the season, this will be a different game under different circumstances with different situations, and I just want those guys to go out there and compete. If we go out and compete and play with attention to detail and urgency, we'll have more than enough talent in the secondary to compete.
Do you know what freshmen probably play this season yet, or is that determined later?
That's still to be determined. I think there's some that already have shown that they're going to have an opportunity to prove that. Justin Goodwin would be one. Janarian Grant, I think, is one. Nadir Barnwell, DeLon Stevenson. Those are some that right now I think are trending more towards playing than anything else. But that's not. Last year this time I may have said the same thing about Stephen Longa, and then he had a high ankle sprain, and by the time he came back, we were in a pretty good shape. We didn't need to do it, so that was a little bit of luxury. So I think there's some that might be trending that way, but I wouldn't be ready to say it just yet.